Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm pretty excited because this week we are actually in the process of setting up our forms for the footers of the shop. I'm going to start with the shop simply because that will give me a space to work on the remainder of the house during the winter months. I'll have a protected space to actually work and be able to do stuff. And for this year, based on the price of lumber and everything else, it's the simplest way to do this cost effectively. Since the main part of the house will take on the most lumber, it makes more sense to wait till lumber prices begin to fall. They already are. In fact, the lumber that I got today, I got from our local timber mill, Hunt's Timbers, and saved about $10 per piece of lumber versus the big box stores. They're still price gouging, and so I decided to keep things local, which helps the community and helps me out in the long run. So stay tuned, as this week we set up the footers for our shop. One of my first tasks for the shop foundation is going to be to reset the corner pins and the dimensions of the shop so that I know exactly where to start measuring out for my footers. Makes it a little bit more complicated because there are 3 feet holes that I dug for the foundations. So it's going to take a little bit of time and a little bit of math, so we'll see how that works out. So far in this project, the hardest thing to do with this foundation has been to square it up. Because I left the center rise so they don't have to backfill as much, it left me with a hard position to actually have to square things up. But I managed to get that done. When I was 19, my father said to me, "You have 2 choices. Go to college or go to work. Use your brain or your brawn. But keep in mind, no one loves being a 50-year-old roofer." In those early years, I thought that my father was just picking apart my dreams, as I was too young and naive to understand exactly what the advice he was giving me was truly about. Many years and a career later, I now fully understand that lesson. I eventually chose to go to college and earn a degree, which has served me fairly well in my life, but always longed for physical work. Even in my career, you would find me in the field helping my crews, rather than being in the office pushing senseless reports and attending meetings to talk about nothing for the 10th time. However, over time, my passions and my hobbies had long ago fallen to the wayside, as I worked my butt off 40 to 60 hours a week in a job that I really didn't like. I believed working long and hard was the only way to provide the lifestyle I wanted for myself. Then there came a time in my life where I finally said enough is enough and forced me to drop the front I had been putting up about how I could keep up with the modern day rat race. The opportunity to let go came in February of 2016, when I found myself at a crucial junction, the second of such great life-changing events in my life. My company had failed to deliver on a project I was working on, leading to a significant reduction in force. I am just grateful that this is actually killed dried lumber and not green timber, because these things are really, really heavy. My boss had come into my office to give me the bad news, which I had seen coming for some time, so it came as no surprise to me. However, as my fellow employees, who were laid off the same day as well, scrambled to figure out their next steps and attempt to contain their fears and worries, I sat there and thought, this quite possibly could be the best thing that ever happened to me. It was a crucial junction that I needed to make some important decisions about matters that have far-reaching consequences in my journey and a long-lasting effect on my life as well as the lives of those around me. It was a drastic change I needed, a change I have not been willing to make on my own for a very long time. I found that it takes a real sense of self-examination not to give in to the fear and to stop trying to control the world around you. What I found at each crossroad in my life is that they present a hidden gift, the opportunity for a life-changing breakthrough and a direct experience of what it is truly means to heal and live authentically. These breakthrough moments in a person's life are what transform us, but we must first let go. As a result of my decision, I have the privilege to meet often with people that, much like me, are at a crossroads in their life and are seeking the keys to inner peace, the clarity of purpose, and the courage to overcome fear and self-doubt. Now, we can't all go into the woods to live deliberate lives, but we can shape our time. We can advocate for our priorities so that we are not marginalized by the onslaught of the world's busyness and noise. In order to live the life you want, you must begin to identify and prioritize the things in your life that are the most meaningful to you. This level of introspection is mandatory for you to narrow down what it is you really want. These private conversations you have with yourself can either be a powerful stepping stone or a major obstacle to reaching your goals. If your inner monologue repeats things like, "I'm going to embarrass myself," or "I don't have the skills to do that," then you are setting yourself up to be where you have always been. After all, if you tell yourself enough times that you're not good enough, clever enough, or confident enough to do something, there's a good chance you'll talk yourself out of ever trying. Before he died, the father said to his son, "Here is a watch that your grandfather gave me. It is almost 200 years old. Before I give it to you, go to the jewelry store downtown. Tell them that I want to sell it and see how much they'll offer you." The son went to the jewelry store, came back to his father and said, "They offered 150 because it's so old." Father said, "Then now go to the pawn shop." The son went down to the pawn shop and came back to his father and said, "The pawn shop offered $10 because it looks so worn." The father asked his son to go to the museum and show the watch to them. So he went to the museum, came back and said to his father, "The curator offered $500,000 for this very rare piece to be included in their precious antiques collection." Father said, "I wanted to let you know that the right place values you in the right way. Don't find yourself in the wrong place and get angry if you are not valued. Those that know your value are those who appreciate you. So don't stay in a place where nobody sees your values. Know your worth." Believing in myself and my dreams didn't come easy. And while I believe positive affirmations are incredibly helpful, I certainly am no Stuart Smalley. I have, however, spent a lot of time learning how to tame my inner critic, and one of the best sources of this came from Brené Brown. In the introduction to her book, Daring Greatly, Brown reflects on Roosevelt's words, which he says perfectly encapsulate her research into why we find being vulnerable such a hard thing to do. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error or shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, has at least tried daring greatly. When we spend our lives waiting until we're perfect or bulletproof before we walk into the arena, we ultimately sacrifice relationships and opportunities that may not be recoverable. We squander our precious time, and we turn our backs on the gifts and those unique contributions that only we can make. Perfect and bulletproof are seductive, but they do not exist in the human experience. Dreams, ambitions, goals, or however else you wish to label it, starts with the first step. Then another step must follow immediately, and another step after that. You may trip over numerous obstacles, and everyone does, but you must not let that give you convenient excuse to stop. Anyone can homestead, even if you live in the city, have a 9-to-5 job, are low on funds, or haven't grown up with a tremendous amount of hands-on skill. There is still a version of homesteading that fits your situation. Find what that is, create it, and live it. I found that sometimes being naive is the best thing you have going for you. Every action has a reaction, but nothing happens unless you get off the couch. I won't go into detail on the limited capacity that I have due to injuries from the past, but I have the curiosity and ability to overcome my limitations in order to create a lifestyle that I want for myself. For me, One of those driving passions is building my own home.
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin, beginning to thaw from within. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has so clear a light as any to see the horizon and the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind on my face, all that ever was is a wreck. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day to today and not tomorrow, there's no time.
With that, I have completed the forms for the footings for the shop. And let me say, I'm no stranger to hard work, but that was tough as a solo project. And but we got it done. And the next thing we're going to be doing is pouring cement, and we'll get the footers done. I got all the uprights cut, all the rebars in, and everything is backfilled and ready to go. So stay tuned for that. If you like this type of material, please remember to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel. Thanks for watching.